My name is Hassan Syed. I have two disclaimers in the beginning. One is that my organization is also a sponsor. So we had over 5 minutes of a sponsor talk that I have mixed it with my presentation. So there is some bias over there, and I want to have it up front. And the second thing is that there is an upside and downside of being towards the end of a program. So especially when the program had been so nice and so good and people have talked so intelligently, then in the end you have got all the pressure, right? Okay, what you gonna say now? That's gonna top all this. So I'm not gonna dump my presentation. A friend of mine just said that to stick to the script. So I'll try to stick to the script, but I will try to have some references from the previous conversations, hopefully, or previous talks. And my timer starts now. So this is the conference about failure, and we all were asked to talk about our own personal experience with failure, with innovation, entrepreneurship. What did we do? What did we learn from it? So early 90s, and I'm a technology professional, 32 years of technology. In early 90s, I started a company by the name Zentech Corporation. And the idea was to have a specialized ERP system for chemical manufacturing. I worked in chemical manufacturing for 10 years before that. So it made sense. It was a perfect idea for a person like me, knew the technology, knew the business. And it started with, some early adopters already signed up. So it was bootstrapped, all along. And it just went pretty well. I ended up, the company was sold for millions of dollars, and everybody lived happily ever after. Of course, no, I'm not sticking to this story. It was really, really good start. It went all the way to the 3 customers were very happy with the product, only for us to realize that we needed money to grow the company. And by that time, it was 2001, and it's pretty much a done deal. We had to close the company in 2002. Of course, there was a leftover of debt that I had to deal with for another 5-6 years. But that was, really a great learning for me, as I did not have any idea about fundraising, any idea about how much, you need that kind of backing when you actually start the growth cycle. And also, why do you need a support circle? Why do you need people that are going to help you? At that time, for me, it was like I knew technology, I knew business, I have got, everything in my hands. So that was a great learning. Of course, getting back on the horse or back in the saddle was a very hard thing to do, but in 2012, before that, 10 years in the middle, and I did a really good, project, and that project also failed twice before, getting it successfully launched. But all these failures, kind of just helped me understand one thing really, really well: how important it is to have support, how important it is to have people who are going to help you. Because you have got these blinders. We talked about blinders before. You have got this passion. You think you are indestructible. You want to do those things. And you think you can do it. You truly believe in it, otherwise you wouldn't do it. So the people that are around you, people who are supporting you, are the people who are going to help you to look at some of the things that you might miss. And that is my presentation today. There is, of course, a connection between success and failure. We talked about, definitions and all those things in the beginning, but the ultimate goal is what? What are we trying to do? We are trying to learn failure. Why are we trying to learn failure? Of course, celebrate failure, that is one thing. Understand that that failure was not really the end of life. We are going through our life. We are still alive. We are not dead, right? So we're going to do more things, and we learn from that. But the ultimate goal is to be able to do some things successfully, more productive things. And so people talk about all the different things, but this is the recipe for success. It is no secret at all. Avoid fatal mistakes so you don't get killed. You can make mistakes. Follow best practices. Whatever everybody is telling you, you have to do that. The 24 steps that Diane talked about, this is important. But more importantly, as my learning was, get help when needed because you don't know the first two things. That's the problem. People tell you that you should do these three things, but the first two things you don't know because you have those blinders. And that's why getting help when it is needed becomes very important. So this is, something I can move mountains, certainly. No problem. Somebody said that he can move Earth if he was given some place in space. But you need help. You need people who will help you move mountains. And I'm sure that a lot of you over here in this room have gone through this, and you have moved mountains. But when you think about what you did, you move mountains with other people's help. So when it comes to help, where do you go? And what kind of help is available or you should be seeking for? And what a community around innovation and entrepreneurship does to people like us. So I looked at, there are many different, what you call ecosystem pictures that you will see in which people talk about, what services a community provides to within an ecosystem. But it is more relevant, and I don't know whether you guys can read all that or not, but hopefully it will get clearer in the next few slides. From an entrepreneur and innovator perspective, there are certain things that you should expect from your community, and those services provide you that help and support that you need throughout the, the endeavor that you're going through or that you are working on. So it's a little difficult with the glasses. So the first service which a community provides is basically helping you to connect with other people who are willing to work with you, help you think similar but also have diverse experience. So getting those right people, connected with those right people, connect with people who are willing to try and test and have an open mind towards that innovative idea that you have. You're coming up with something new. So you gotta have those people, connected with them. You also need to find out who are the other people, other startups, other people with similar ideas within your community that you can work together. And also within that community, you are going in asking for help, but in a vibrant community, you are also providing help. So it's a give and take within that system. If you don't do that, it's not going to function. You have to help other people also within that. So this is what the networking means in a community of innovation and entrepreneurship. Where do you find these things over here in Minnesota or Minneapolis? And I've tried to list places and and services that are being offered. Innovators and entrepreneurs of MSP. Clyde Hansen is here in this room. He runs a meetup, great meetup. You guys can go there. You can talk to other innovators, other entrepreneurs, hear their stories. EduCelerate, which is more specific to education technologies, is another meetup that happens regularly. You can go there. Bootstrappers, Breakfast, mini demo. People come up with with their own demos, whatever things that they're working on. JJ Hill Library has got a great program, all sort of different things that they do. And then you can go on online places. IdeaGist is, as I said, it is a little biased, but then Venture Lake is another one that is focused on Minneapolis. Then Co-Founders Lab and many more online places where you can go and find other people, network with them, learn from their stories, share your story with them, and and get connected. Second service that in the ecosystem that you can get is mentoring. Mentoring is like increasing your chance of success by threefold, I think, which is really, really good. People who get good mentors really are more successful. But how do you, so what is that really means in terms of, this is a personal connection with somebody who has the experience from the past. They have done lots of things in their life, and they are willing to help you for free. Mentoring is a volunteer, role. It is not like, you're buying a consultant or an advisor and you're giving them, all sort of different things. No, they're there just to help you. And that is only because of the first point, because there is a personal connection. They help you, one thing that is most important, avoiding fatal mistakes. They will always give you guidance on where you're making a major mistake, and then, you can learn from their experience. They are the voice of reason. In all your passion and your blinders that you have, they are the voice of reason. You got to listen to them. And they have no interest. That's why the mentor is a volunteer position. They don't have any interest. The only interest they have is to see you successful. So, that's the mentoring. Where do you go for mentors? Minnesota Innovates is an organization. They have mentor mornings. I think this program was inherited from TIE, Minnesota. University of Minnesota has got mentorship program. University of St. Thomas has got mentorship program. Minnesota Cup offers mentors to the businesses or the startups ideas. And then Idea just also has got an online program that will get you connected to different mentors. Third thing that a community provides is encouragement. Life is very difficult. When you're trying to change something, it becomes even more difficult. Everybody tells you it's not going to happen. So encouragement is what? Within a community. Encouragement is stories from other entrepreneurs and innovators. They tell you what happened, and that gives you encouragement. Even if they're talking about failure, not like this, as we were discussing before, but talking about failure like this. This encouragement, this dose is really, really critical. The bigger the objective of your innovation is, the more you need, this kind of thing. Awards and prizes is another kind of encouragement that you get from the community. There are grants available. There are different kinds of competitions that you can be part of, and that gives you, all those things gives you a level of confidence in what you're trying to do, and the encouragement to keep moving forward, keep bouncing forward. So what are within our ecosystem here in Minnesota, Minneapolis? Startup Grind is started. I haven't seen much activity from a Startup Grind for quite some time now, but that was a good program where they would bring in an entrepreneur who would share their story, and other people will be able to ask questions. Minnesota Cup, as mentioned earlier, Clean Tech Open, Midwest has got a good program for encouraging innovation in Minnesota Innovates, and then we are starting a competition, IdeaGist competition. They'll be starting a few months from now. These are all different ways that you can learn and you can get encouraged from, from these services. Another thing that when you are trying to innovate and start something, of your own, expert advice is often very difficult to get. My experience, when anybody talks about getting a contract reviewed by a lawyer, it gives me a little bit of a shiver. It's $350, $400 an hour, and it goes by the hour. And so every time I go and tell my story, I am paying, or maybe $500 or whatever. Intellectual property protection, technology, solution design, marketing and sales, financial planning, fundraising, nothing comes cheap. everything takes money. So the ability to tap into the community that is there to help you is always, give you, a little bit of advantage, financial advantage. Of course, you can go within your own social network and get the expert advice. You can go to the community events. Many of these meetups that I told you earlier, if you go to those meetups, you'll find experts in different areas who come regularly to those. They understand the challenge of the innovation and entrepreneurship, and they are willing to help and go with you and talk about what to do in certain situations. Referrals from other entrepreneurs also are good, because people who are providing the expert advice, if they understand what a startup is like, what starting something of your own, what kind of challenges are there, then their advice and their structure, pricing structure, would be closer to what you could afford. Some online places, justanswers.com is an amazing site. If you guys are looking for expert advice for a smaller amount, for $20, $30, you can get pretty much any expert who can give you an advice. Of course, legal advice that comes with the what you call liability and all that thing, that they don't provide you, you still have to go to a lawyer who is practicing it. But for the most part, simpler advice, it's fairly easy to get from justanswer.com. IdeaGist also provides similar facility.